one of the most talked about Islamic preachers in Nigeria who have had photographs with people suspected to be terrorists, terrorizing villages and communities in the northern part of Nigeria when he visited the suspected terrorists in their camps inside forests on the ground of having peace talk with the armed groups. Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi has described as a terrorist act the United States U.S. military action ordered by President Donald Trump that attacked and killed yet to be ascertained total numbers of ISIS-affiliated Lakurawa terrorists in Sokoto state on Christmas Day. The Islamic cleric called on the people in the villages affected by the U.S. missile strikes on Thursday night to post on social media platforms evidences of damages caused by the U.S. military action. According to Gumi, it is in line with the teachings of Islam for terrorists to be killed, but the killing must be done by people with a clean and holy hands, and not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men. Just recently, stressing that the U.S. involvement in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria will make the country becomes an enemy of its neighbors, a theater of war, because the involvement will attract the real anti-US forces into the West Africa country, and in a manner that looked like mockery. Sheikh Gumi said, dropping a few bombs here and there cannot tackle the menace of terror. They need serious military on the ground, which, if we are serious, we have enough men to do that. In contrary to Gumi's assertions, the Nigeria government, through the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, said it was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday that gave the US the approval to carry out the strikes against the terrorists. But the government statement apparently did not go down well with Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist and the founder of Sahara Reporters news media, who insisted that it is evident that the strikes were carried out without the genuine authority or informed consent of the weaklings masquerading as government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and in a swift reaction to Omoyele Sowore, one of the recently nominated and confirmed ambassador-designate, Reno Omokri, said, "I am afraid I will have to disagree with Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and others like him, who are misinforming the Nigerian public that the recent actions against terrorists are proof that Nigeria lacks sovereignty. Such views are indicative of a lack of awareness of international relations. It is also wrong for Mr. Sowore to call our government and military weak." Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi, in a statement titled, "The Symbolism of the US Strike," he shared on his verified Facebook account when he reshared the news link of a post published by CNN on Friday, said, "Annihilating terrorists is an Islamic obligation. The Prophet, peace be upon him, wished he annihilated them. He said, should I live till they appear, I would kill them as the killing of the nation of Ad. Al-Bukhari and Muslim." This said, it should only be carried out by clean, holy hands, not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men just recently. This is the mistake Nigeria has made. Terrorists don't fight terrorists While many Nigerians were asleep after the 2025 Christmas celebration, the United States, U.S. warship moved close and took position in the territorial Africa waters, then launched missiles at the dead of the night on Thursday into areas predominantly dominated by the Lakurawa terrorists in the Nigeria northwestern state of Sokoto, with President Donald Trump saying many of the terrorists were killed, but the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS in the West Africa province, is yet to issue a statement over the airstrikes on the Lakurawa camps in Sokoto, the armed group that is affiliated with the Islamic State Sahel province operating in Mali, Niger, and the Nigeria Kebbi and Sokoto states, whose activities are mostly observed in 5 local government areas of Tangaza, Gudu, Alela, Binji, and Salame in Sokoto state. Some residents at Jabo village in the Tambul local government area of Sokoto state posted videos online to indicate that some components used in making the missiles fell on a farmland in the Jabo village. The videos showed a lot of the villagers, mostly younger ones, holding phones with touchlight on, recording the scene of the burning parts of one of the missiles in the farmland, while some took a closer camera angle shot of some of the components that have manufacturing inscriptions, dates and brand labels. The U.S. Africa Command, in a statement a few hours ago, said, at the direction of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, and in coordination with Nigerian authorities, U.S. Africa Command conducted strikes against ISIS terrorists in Nigeria on December 25, 2025, in Sokoto State. President Donald Trump, while announcing the military action through his Truth social media platform on Thursday night, said, "Tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing, primarily, innocent Christians, at levels not seen for many years, and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight, there was." The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues. Peter Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of War, reiterated the U.S. President's announcement in a tweet, saying, "The President was clear last month. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. The Department of War is always ready, so ISIS found out tonight, on Christmas. More to come. Grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. Merry Christmas." On November 25, 2025, Peter Hegseth had said, "Yes, sir. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria, and anywhere, must end immediately. The Department of War is preparing for action. Either the Nigerian government protects Christians, in an effort to challenge and prove wrong the statement of Harrison Gwamnishu, a well-known civilian volunteer assisting Nigeria security operatives with intelligence information that has led to the arrest and killing of suspected kidnappers in gun battle, that he, Harrison Gwamnishu, was never arrested or charged to court by the Nigeria police force over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed from the 20 million nairas ransom he was contracted to hand over to the kidnappers for the release and rescue of the married couple kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State in late November 2025. A leading Nigeria social media influencer and human rights activist, Martins Vincent Otts aka VeryDarkMan, on Tuesday night took to his social media pages and presented an apparent questionable court document, probably with malicious intent to manipulate and mislead unsuspecting members of the public in order to malign the character of Harrison Gwamnishu. This, in the court document presented by VeryDarkMan, the alleged charge serial numbers were covered with a colored ink. No date of court sitting was written on the court document. The document indicated that the alleged 3-count charges were drafted and signed on the 18th of December 2025, a day before Harrison Gwamnishu was asked to go home from the police custody on December 19, 2025, while awaiting the advice of the Department of Public Prosecutor, DPP, on the matter. And the apparent fraudulent court document did not show the officer or the person responsible for the court count charges, and VeryDarkMan apparently in a manipulative manner did not show the full signature and any name of the officer who authored the alleged court charges. VeryDarkMan claimed in the video that the prosecutor wanted Harrison Gwamnishu jailed for 6 months, but the judge he identified as Justice Etinosa Adekombi allegedly on her personal consideration, because of the Christmas and New Year season and public intervention, decided to grant Harrison Gwamnishu bail. Harrison Gwamnishu says he was never arrested by the police or charged to court as speculated in the public spaces over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed out of the 20 million nairas ransom he was given to hand over to kidnappers, and as well apparently used the money as a bait to stage sting operation for the release and rescue of the husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, which generated public reactions after the kidnappers set free the wife and kept the husband in captivity on the ground that the money given to them was not complete, and some persons who have access to the apparent sensitive security information went public to create an impression as if Harrison Gwamnishu stole part of the ransom money. even when Harrison Gwamnishu explained to them that it is part of his operational procedures to remove some cash from the ransom money. His explanation apparently went on deaf ears, and people who may be best described as mischief makers took advantage of the issue to call Harrison Gwamnishu names and reopen his alleged past deeds in a prejudiced manner to cast aspersions on him, even when they knew that Harrison Gwamnishu has a long history with video evidences of assisting security operatives to rescue kidnapped victims. Harrison Gwamnishu says he was never arrested by the police or charged to court as speculated in the public spaces over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed out of the 20 million nairas ransom he was given to hand over to kidnappers, and as well apparently used the money as a bait to stage sting operation for the release and rescue of the husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, which generated public reactions after the kidnappers set free the wife and kept the husband in captivity on the ground that the money given to them was not complete. And some persons who have access to the apparent sensitive security information went public to create an impression as if Harrison Gwamnishu stole part of the ransom money, even when Harrison Gwamnishu explained to them that it is part of his operational procedures to remove some cash from the ransom money. His explanation apparently went on deaf ears, and people who may be best described as mischief makers took advantage of the issue to call Harrison Gwamnishu names and reopen his alleged past deeds in a prejudiced manner to cast aspersions on him, even when they knew that Harrison Gwamnishu has a long history with video evidences of assisting security operatives to rescue kidnapped victims, and in some cases, the total money paid as ransom are recovered and returned to the victims' families, and the sting operation usually leads to the killing and arrest of the suspected kidnappers. This, according to Harrison Gwamnishu in a statement he issued through his verified Facebook account some hours ago. He was the one who personally submitted himself voluntarily to the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force to enable the police investigate his action, that he never had the intention of stealing the money, and his action of removing some money from the ransom was part of his usual operational procedures, adding that the police never charged him to court, and while in self-detention with the police, he became the cell president and he facilitated the release of 4 persons who were probably arrested and detained by the police unjustly for a crime the beneficiaries may know nothing about. And a video posted online by Harrison Gwamnishu on Monday night showed he arrived home to the waiting hands of his elderly mother, who was seen in the video singing, dancing with other family members, friends and well-wishers, and screaming loud with joy, while using one of her hands to caress the chest of her son, Harrison Gwamnishu, during which she said a lot of prayers in her local dialect. In his words, Harrison Gwamnishu said, "I did not return alone. During my time in custody, I became the cell presido, OBJ, and later handed over that responsibility to a young man, Honor Abba, who had also been unjustly arrested and detained. While there, I quietly supported the release of 4 individuals who were being held without cause. And today, Honor Abba from Benue State has also regained his freedom. My sincere appreciation goes to my Edo human rights team, led by John Odion Kadiri, for their invaluable support in making this possible. Dear family, I am pleased to inform you all that I have been released from custody. Words cannot express how grateful I am for your support, especially considering that many of you had not yet heard my own side of what truly happened. For barely 1 month after terrorists invaded the Christian school on November 21, 2025 and kidnapped over 230 school children at the St. Mary Catholic Church School in Papri Town in Niger State, the Nigeria government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the complete release of all the abducted church school children by the terrorists. According to the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, the terrorists released the kids based on intelligence-driven operations, but some Nigerians who took to the comment sections of the presidential spokesperson on social media said the government should come out clean and tell the public the truth that it paid money as ransom to the terrorists to secure the freedom of the kids, stressing that terrorists don't release kidnapped victims for free. Bayo Onanuga, the presidential spokesperson, had said in a statement he issued and made available yesterday that The remaining 130 school children abducted by terrorists at St. Mary's Catholic School in Papri, Niger State, on November 21st, have now been released. They are expected to arrive in Minna on Monday and rejoin their parents for the Christmas celebration. 100 were released earlier by the terrorists, taking the total of freed students to 230. The freedom of the school children followed a military intelligence-driven operation. Some social media users who are apparently Nigerians took to the comment sections of the presidential spokesperson post both on Facebook and X social media platforms and expressed themselves over the new developments, some of which are presented verbatim below. Rilwan Ibrahim said, "Released not rescued. Kidnappers don't release captives for free. In all thank God for their lives." Femi Adeboye said, "So what happened to their abductors? Were they engaged in, the way they understand, or they were released after monetary negotiation? We thank God for the release of these children. At the same time, what happened to the abductors?" Akingbade Aganbiade said, "Military intelligence-driven operation. As how many bandits did they arrest?" Banki Alesh said, "A wheeler-dealer government of no direction will never say the truth. Only God knows how much ransom was paid from the hard-earned resources or borrowed funds of this country. No amount of propaganda or damage control. Nigerians becomes wiser every day with all your antics and they're ready for you come 2027. Ruska Oko said, "Sir, with all due respect, do the terrorists release them unconditionally or your government paid ransom?" Joke Megamixer stated, "The presidency celebrates a military intelligence-driven operation for the Papri release, yet says nothing about the fate of the abductors. In a functioning security system, the return of victims is only half the job. Without arrests or neutralized threats, this is not a rescue. It is a handover that comes at a cost that wasn't mentioned." The official account of the Papri release reads like a travel itinerary, not a security report. If this was indeed an intelligence-led operation, where are the suspects? Silence on the abductors' fate suggests a non-combative arrangement that leaves the kidnap industry intact. Increasing rates of mass shooting leading to mass murder in South Africa recorded another new figure on Sunday early morning in the Bekkersdal town near the southwestern part of Johannesburg in the Gauteng province when about 12 masked unknown gunmen invaded a public drinking, accommodation and relaxation spot known as Tavern, shooting into the pub and shot people as they sight them on the street while fleeing, leading to the killing of 9 persons as confirmed by the local authority, with additional 10 persons sustaining injuries. This occurred less than 3 weeks when gunmen stormed an illegal drinking establishment also known as Shebeen at a hostel in Salisville, west of Pretoria, wherein 12 people were killed, including a 3-year-old child, a 12-year-old boy, and a 16-year-old girl, and in 2024 alone, 26,232 murder cases representing more than 70 people killed per day in South Africa was reported by the South African Police Service, SAPS, and a non-governmental organization, the Democratic Alliance. BC had stated in its report earlier in the year that between January and March 2025, 5,727 people were murdered, representing an average of 62 people killed per day in 2025 first quarter, and 6,985 attempted murders were recorded, 75 per day. 43,776 assaults with intent to cause grievous bodily harm were reported, representing 475 per day. 10,688 people were raped, 116 per day. 4,571 kidnappings occurred, 49 per day. 11,111 common robberies and 35,374 commercial crimes were reported, representing 504 per day. And as at the time of filing in this report on Monday morning, the South Africa President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is yet to issue statement or announce policy action over the Sunday recent mass murder in the country, just as residents who spoke with local media blamed the attack on illegal miners known by the group name Zamas and the residents believed the police are in cahoots with the different gangsters terrorizing communities in South Africa. Local residents who spoke with local news media said that the mass murder in Bekkersdal occurred around 1 a.m. early morning night on Sunday, December 21st, with about 12 gunmen in a white van and silver sedan opened fire at the Quinoxalo Tavern in Bekkersdal, southwest of Johannesburg. A resident who spoke with Newsroom Africa Television said, "It is bad, my sister. The thing is, this has become a norm in this township. Young kids, tender kids as young as 2, 3 years old, when a gunshot sounds, they don't flinch. They would ask you, which direction does it come from? They're used to gunshots. Little kids. Now you can imagine how much about old people. What happened yesterday is a reflection of, I don't know how to put it, maybe, let me put it straight, a reflection of neglect by the police. Criminals, they do as they please here. These guns, they sound each
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.